Hi all, this is Allmighty and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to be covering the second part of this endgame where we have two pawns against one pawn on the other side. Okay, so let's jump right in. Here we have again a position where we have connected pawns and one pawn who is actually blocking them to go to a promotion. And in this situation what we want to do with black, this is actually a drawn endgame. So white moves somewhere and black actually follows him. And this way, white cannot force himself to go on the 6th rank and essentially pick up this pawn and win the game. So this is the main idea for black. Wherever white goes, you just need to follow him along the same lines. Don't be afraid, because essentially wherever he goes, you will manage to catch him and prevent him to coming to the 6th rank. Okay, so even if he tries some ideas with like king h3, you just go into distant opposition, and this is also drawn endgame in the end. Okay, so this was the first position that I wanted to show you. Let's move on to the next one. Here, I just wanted to show you one idea from this endgames where you have two pawns that is sometimes good to actually sacrifice your pawn. So here f7 works, king to f7, now king to d5. Bring the black in the opposition, and the whole idea is to be able to push the king out of the defense, from this pawn, capture this pawn, and then push your own pawn to become a queen. So okay, king to e7, king to e5, bring the king into opposition, always good, king to f7, and now king to d6. You push your king forward and in a way pushing the king away from this pawn. So okay, now for example, king to f8, diagonal opposition. Doesn't really matter whatever black plays, in the end this pawn will fall, as I will show you also in the next example in this situation. So now we have that necessary tempo which we need to actually move the king out of the way and not to stalemate him, and bring the queen out. But as I've said, let's move on. But let's go back to the initial position. We can even go a different path, but in the end we will again win the game. I just wanted to show you, okay, now if king goes here, black can follow him, but now king c4, even black cannot follow to c6 because f7 and this is queen. So what does black do? He needs to go back to actually prevent this pawn from going to a queen. And now king to c5 even works. Because king to f5 doesn't work, f7, and in the next move it's a queen, black doesn't have enough moves to actually do something. So he needs to stay back and guard this, and we just bring our king. When he moves away, we do something like this, and now in this situation we actually have to move away. Because king to f6 is a stalemate, as you can see, so king to d7 is a much better move. Still, we are winning, because we can push the king away from the pawn by slowly moving towards him, bringing him always into opposition. In this situation we just capture the pawn, and like previously we have the necessary tempo, and this is a winning endgame for white. Okay, let's move on to the next position, and now we have something different. So here we have separated pawns. Again, we are covering only situations where there are pawns who are blocking these two pawns, because it would make sense actually to have a pawn far away. Maybe he could then go to a queen or something like that. So here in this situation, e4. Let's start nice and easy. The same would happen if we play c4. e4 isn't the only move here to win the game, but I will show you how you can win with e4. Now black, let's say, play natural moves, and now d6 doesn't work. So if we capture, he captures, he brings us into a position, but we have that one tempo that we need actually. King to c6, king to c4, and now when he moves, this is a winning endgame for white. If you don't know how to win this endgame, please check out my video on key squares, and I've explained it there a great deal. Okay, so we saw that pushing the pawn isn't a good idea for black, but he needs to go back. And now king to d5, we follow him, and when he brings us into the opposition, now it's time to actually push the pawn. And when he captures, we capture. He wants to go in front of the pawn, but now when he comes to b6, c4 is the best move because it prevents him to come closer. He needs to go back, and this is a winning endgame for white. Okay, so let's move on. Here, one interesting position, again with the separated pawns, one on f4 and one on d4. Here, okay, also black pawn is preventing those pawns to actually just go forward and promote. So here in this position, if white is first to move, then it's a drawn endgame, and if black is first to move, it's a winning endgame for white. So I wanted to show you first the endgame where black is first to move. So when he moves, we just follow him into opposition. So now black needs to go back to f6 because this is the only square that now defends this pawn, and now go from behind. Why is that? Because we want to limit the squares where black can actually go to, where he can still defend this pawn. So now he needs to go to f5, he needs to go forwards, and now again limit the squares. And when he captures the pawn, we capture his pawn, he goes here, and this is, yeah, easy win for white. It doesn't really matter if he wouldn't capture a pawn. If he goes here, then yeah, capture this one, we just push the other one. Black cannot escape losing this position. So quickly, if white would be first to move here, if he goes, for example, to d7, then black just needs to follow him in opposition. So on d7 he goes f7, on c7 he goes g7, so distant opposition. Just follow him in opposition, and this is actually then drawn. But okay, here in this next position, white is first to move, and it's winning for white because now he has one other idea. He goes king to e6. And now black cannot go into distant opposition because that would mean moving out of the board. He needs to go on g7, h7 or h5. In each of those cases, so if he plays h7 or h5, we move to f7, and if he plays g7, then king e7. I'm going to show you this example. So now king to h7, for example, king f7, and if he goes here, just the same idea, go from the back. If he would go right away to h6, we can even play here. So now if he goes h7, then we are again in the same position. He goes here, again, go from the back. Just one other variation. When he goes king h5, we go king f7. So if he captures a pawn, we capture his pawn immediately. So just wanted to show you all of these positions so that you know the other ideas. You can go from the back, or either you can even sacrifice the pawn to in the end win the endgame. So this is the final position of this video. I prepared this for less because it's a really interesting position. Again, we have two pawns against one pawn, separated pawns, and c pawns are blocking each other. So here, what do we want to do? So usually a mindset of a person who doesn't really understand this endgame is, okay, so what do I need to do as white? I need to go around, capture the pawn, and yeah, this will bring me victory, because when I capture the pawn, I will just push my pawn, and this is it. So king to c3 seems like a natural move, right? And now king to a4 by black, and now after king to d3, black plays king to b4. And now white is in a bit of a trouble, because c3 is defended by black king, and d4 is defended by a black pawn. And unfortunately, white, for example, if he moves with a king, he goes away from the pawn, and it's a problem. So if he plays a3, black needs to capture, and now even king to e4 doesn't work, because black plays king to b3, attacks the pawn, white defends and also attacks his pawn, but king to b4 now actually wins for black, because now again white needs to move from the defense of his own pawn. We just capture the pawn with black, and yeah, this is a winning endgame for black. So okay, this isn't losing for black, losing for white, of course. I just wanted to show you one variation. Here, of course, if black captures on a3, white can still play king to c3, king to a4, king to c2, maintaining opposition with white will bring him a drawn endgame. So something like this, and yeah, black needs to push, and this is a drawn endgame. Okay, so if we go back to initial position, actually, yeah, king to c3 isn't the best move, king to a3 is the winning move. And I just want you to mind the power of opposition here, also in all of the pawn endgames, because it's a really powerful tool, and it will bring you most commonly an advantage, which you will probably then use to maybe even win the game. Here now black needs to go back, so b6 or a6 doesn't really matter. White will use the power of triangulation. So Actually, whenever you kind of heard this triangulation word, it probably means that you will win the end game. But okay, doesn't necessarily mean you will have that case. But okay, king to b2, and now okay, if black moves a6 or c6, if he doesn't come forwards with the king, we can just move to c3 and go around. So if he moves to a5, now we come king to b3, and this is triangulation, because now in this case we are back in the initial position, but now black is actually first to move. So he needs to go back, and now we reserve that one necessary tempo that we need to actually win this game. King to c3, and now after king to a5 we move king to d2. So not king to d3, because then we would end up in the same situation. King plays to b4, and we are back where we started. White will have to settle for a draw here. King to d2, and now if he plays king to b4, now we play king to d3. And this is okay with us, because now black needs to move away, and this gives us enough time to actually go around and pick up the pawn. So black doesn't play on b4, he plays king to a4, and now we don't play king to d3, we play king to e3. If we play king to d3, again king would play to b4, but with king to e3 we are still reserving that one tempo to actually come back and defend the pawn. So now if king to b4, king to d3 again, and when black moves, for example, to a4, we now have king to e4. Okay, king to a5, king to d5, we are finally attacking the pawn and defending. Now black does the same to us, but with one big difference from before. Now we have this pawn as well, because we can give a check, and now when black captures or moves somewhere, we just pick up the pawn and yeah, win the endgame. So okay, I just wanted to show you this last because it was pretty interesting position for me. And yeah, and with this position and situation, I would like to end up this two-part video about this endgame. Yeah. That being said, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.